welcome back to the UFred10 podcast series. If you're joining us for the first time today, my name is Sarah Chesson, and I manage the Marketing and Communications Department here at the University of Fredericton. Today, we're pleased to be speaking with UFred Certificate in Health, Safety, and Environmental Processes alumnus and current executive MBA student, Stephen Hall. Steve is a senior safety advisor with over 18 years of experience working in the safety and emergency services and construction sectors. His work experience includes 10 years working as a firefighter in the Canadian Forces before moving into health and safety positions with Target Safety Services, Inc., ESS Compass Group Canada, and Devon Energy. Steve's current role is serving as the Environmental Health and Safety Lead Manager for AFL Canada. In addition to his years of experience, Steve holds numerous certificates and designations, including a National Construction Safety Officer Certificate from the Alberta Construction Safety Association, and a Construction Safety Specialist certification from the BC Construction Safety Alliance. Welcome, Steve. Steve, could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so currently I live on Vancouver Island with my family. I live in a small town called Lake Cowichan. However, I work for a global telecom provider with our Canadian head office being out of Surrey, BC, and our American head office out of Duncan, South Carolina. My background is somewhat diverse. I spent 10 years in the Canadian Forces as a firefighter, moved up the ranks fairly quickly into the officer role, and then I decided in the end of 2011 to retire after 10 years and move into the oil and gas sector. I was hired by a safety company to work as a firefighter, so I showed up at the company. They had no fire jobs, and they said, well, we have a safety job open today. Here's a truck and here's a map if you want to work. Go ahead. So I said, sure. I just want to work, and I ended up on a sour site, and I was the safety guy, and I knew absolutely nothing about health and safety. So it was kind of trial by fire. So I bounced around some different safety companies, held some different positions, moved up fairly fast. I've done pretty much almost every aspect of safety, food safety, even a lot of ergonomics, oil and gas, new construction, drilling, completions. And then I ended up at Devon Energy as a health and safety consultant. And then in March 2015, when oil prices dropped, all the projects were shelved, and I ended up being hired by AFL as their BC EHS manager. Fairly quickly, I moved into more of a national role, and now I have some international responsibilities as well.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like you had a really interesting start to getting into health and safety, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, it was trial by fire. I remember the first day, it was night shift, and I was at the front entrance of the lease site, and the consultant came up to me and said, I fired 19 guys in 19 days from your organization. However, I've been watching you tonight, and I like how you operate. I would like to keep you. And I said, well, that's good, because I'd like to have a job. And he said, so you've been doing this for about 10 years? And I said, 10 years, like 10 minutes. So, yeah, it was definitely trial by fire. But I learned very quickly that safety is not a position that you'll ever know 100% of what you're required to know. It's just a constant learning type of profession.
Yeah, so is that what kind of drove you to continue pursuing your education?
Yeah, pursuing my formal education, it definitely, I realized very quickly that, hey, if you know 30–40% of health and safety, you're doing good. You need to constantly educate yourself, or you're never gonna go anywhere. You're always gonna be at that low level. So, and that's when I basically found UFred. I decided I need some formal education, some credentials, and move up academically as well as professionally. I'm a big proponent of experience. Experience is huge. However, you need that academic training behind you. I believe the day after I was taking certain modules with UFred, I was applying that knowledge. I found it useful like right away, not something like a bachelor's degree where you'll use it in practice later on. I was applying that knowledge instantly. So
that's so great. So you found then that the certificate was enhancing your career right away then?
Definitely. And a lot of people, especially adult learners, have fear with going into a university type of education. Well, I don't want to spend, I don't want to have to do the English requirement. I don't want to have to do these other non-professional requirements. But I found it very user-friendly, and 100% of the material I was applying right away. So it's probably one of the best formal education courses I've received.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. Steve, if you had to pick a standout moment from your UFred education, and I know that you're also in the Executive MBA, so you've got a few different UFred programs under your belt at this point. So what would you say that it would be so far?
I would say the most standout is when I basically used the certificate to springboard into the EMBA. As I went through the training, I realized, wow, this is extremely beneficial. So what will the next level look like? And I found I'm in now a corporate position, and I'm dealing with business leaders that all have MBAs or 20, 30 years of business experience. So I wasn't talking the same language. So that's why I looked at an MBA. Now, I didn't want a formal MBA where I'm just learning business. I wanted it to apply directly to health and safety leadership. And I'd say my standout moment is probably one of my early classes of my EMBA when you're doing the business aspect, because I have a pretty strong business background, and it was a shocker because it's a different world. You go from courses involved specifically with health and safety, and now you're dealing with economics, you're dealing with finance, time value of money. Those aren't easy concepts to wrap your head around if you're solely focused on health and safety. So it was quite the challenge those first few courses. It was kind of a, wow, I've really stepped up the game now. So, but the professors were great. They were there to help you. The group work allowed you to rely on your peers and like truly learn, as opposed to just do the material and submit it and move on.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear it. So going back a little bit to the certificate here, what do you think the primary benefit of the certificate was for you?
The fact that everything you're doing is relating to your current position in health and safety. You're instantly able to apply that knowledge. So it was extremely beneficial that you could learn it, and it was relevant almost immediately. I'm
glad to hear that. So you're pursuing the Executive MBA now. So other than that, where do you see yourself kind of going from here, both professionally and academically?
Academically, the EMBA has really motivated me. I never would consider myself an academic by any means, or would have thought I would ever be in a master's type of program. However, it's really motivated me. I'm actually currently looking at PhD programs, and that would be under social sciences, so I could do something health and safety related. I have a few irons in the fire in that aspect, so yeah, I'm definitely looking at pursuing a PhD doctoral program. Career-wise, I see myself moving up. I'm very quickly transitioning to more of a 100% management. I have global responsibilities right now, and I'm looking to further that to run a global health and safety system.
That sounds fantastic. So what would you say about your UFred education as a whole then, over both programs, has had the strongest impact on you?
The strongest impact on me, I would say, realizing that you are capable of a lot more. Some of the professors can be quite challenging. The material can be quite challenging. And just realizing that you do have what it takes, and there's that support available to you and your peers to help you learn. With the certificate program, the material was, because you're using it every day in your profession, I didn't find it extremely challenging academically. I found it more interesting, so it was almost like I was learning without the exams. Like you almost feel like you're reading a book as opposed to studying for an exam. Maybe it's more enjoyable because you're using it every day. But yeah, the Executive MBA, you're really challenged, and it's preparing you for that next step of your profession.
That's great, Steve. So We are obviously quite proud to be coming up on our 10-year anniversary here, so something we're asking everyone is, what makes you proud to have completed your education with UFred?
Makes me proud that, one, that it's complete, so that's an accomplishment. My EMBA is very close to being complete, so I'm hoping this year it should be complete, or early next year. I'm proud to be part of a progressive organization because all too often these formal academic institutions are very slow to change. They're very bricks and mortar focused, and they're behind dozens of years with adult education. Adult learners, one, we don't have the time, and to attend a bricks and mortar type of institution. We're all over the globe. Most executives travel constantly. There's all these factors that prohibit us from attending their institution. So it's great to have an institution that's progressive. They address concerns right away, and they're basically leading the market in health and safety education.
That's great. Thanks, Steve. So before we let you go here, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about your UFred experience?
Just that the entire process has been very user-friendly. I was very hesitant at first about doing education online, just due to technical issues, user-friendly, that user-friendly capability. I've attended classes in between flights, at airports, hotels, you name it. I've streamed from my phone on the side of the road, and I've never had an IT issue. The platform is extremely easy to use during the certificate program, and then in the MBA program as well. Now, the MBA program was a lot of papers are required, and when you tell a safety person, hey, we need papers on business matters, it can be quite overwhelming. And however, the support you receive from the professors is phenomenal. You receive that one-on-one communication. And the group work, at first, I thought, wow, I don't really have time to be discussing with 4 other people this paper. I just want to do the work and move on. And then I realized that there's a purpose to that, purpose to the group work. It forces you to interact and rely on other people. And you're dealing with time zone issues, everybody's work schedule, which is challenging as well. However, you're learning because you may be weak at and very overwhelmed with referencing, and you may have somebody in your group that's an extremely strong referencer. However, they're bad at formatting or the actual business side of it. So you really rely on all your group members. And I've come to enjoy all the group work. At first, I was very hesitant, but now I'm glad it's in there.
I'm glad to hear that. We get a lot of feedback like that. People are really nervous at first, and then it turns out they quite enjoy it, so that's great. Okay, well, thanks for joining us today, Steve. Really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you very much.